Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you today. We have been filming a series on this 1966 Gottlieb MASQUERADE pinball machine. And this is the Backglass that you are looking at. And it's in rough shape, so we're going to fix it up in this video. Aren't you happy to be here? Now, the best thing you can do if you like our channel is to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us right here at the beginning. Don't forget. Everybody always forgets. Whenever you thumbs up our video, it spreads it around all over YouTube, and YouTube's algorithm gets real excited about that. So I've got this old Backglass here that's flaking away, and I'm going to show you how if you get a game, you can save yours. Let's make it look a lot better, right? So I'm going to very carefully pick this up in the air. I can't turn it over on its back because if I do, all of this loose paint will break off. And we're trying to save a little bit of that stuff. Alright? But I can hold it up and show you. So this is what we're starting with. See, there's where it's like loose. We want to try to lay that back down. And we've got large areas that are missing paint. It's pretty rough. The good news is, it's not cracked. That's good, right? And the second good news is the lady's skin tone, everywhere there is a lady, is in good shape. Now, why is that a good thing? Because whenever people look at the Backglass, that's kind of the focus of the Backglass. A lot of times you look at the pretty lady's face or whatever, and that's not a sexist thing. I'm just saying, even if women look at it, that's where they're looking, right? So if you get one where it's got like a lady on the Backglass, which a lot of them do, and their skin's all screwed up, hard to fix that and make it look right. So, but fortunately, we're not in too bad a shape here. This dude up here has got a couple problems with his hairline, but that's all right. Over here, got some stuff going on. This is an old school Backglass, but this little trick will work on about any of them. So, the first thing that we have to do, I just pulled this right out of the machine. First thing we have to do is we have to clean it a little bit because we're going to paint this thing, and it's basically going to seal it where it will, whatever you seal in there is going to be in there for the rest of eternity, right? So we want to clean it as best we can, but we can't go too aggressive on it. So if I start rubbing on that, that will flake right off. We don't want to do that, right? If I start rubbing on that, that will flake right off. We don't want to do that. So all I'm trying to do is get some of this loose dirt off of places that aren't completely compromised yet, you know. But you can't, you got to be careful what you know, if you run a rag over that, all of that will come right off. So I'm going to clean it up a little bit. I'm going to use a little paintbrush to brush off some of the dirt, and then I'm going to use a paper towel with a little bit of Windex on it to just kind of rub in the areas that are solid. If it's a place like this that's all screwed up, I'm not going to do anything. It's going to stay like that because if I try to clean it off, it's just going to take the paint off and make it even worse. So you want good, not perfect, right? So let me clean it up a little bit and I'll show you what it looks like for us to start. All right, folks, so I've cleaned it up a little bit. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit. It's a little bit too bright where you can't get an accurate look at it. That's about what it looks like here in person. I cleaned it up a little bit, but like I said, you can't go crazy with it. So there's some streaks there. If I rub on that and try to get that perfect, it's going to take all that paint off, and there's text there. So very hard to put back. So minimalist, people. Minimalist, minimalist, minimalist. Do the least possible. All right, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to spray on this Krylon triple thick crystal clear glaze, this exact product. 0500. I'm going to look on Amazon. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll put a link down below. We've been putting Amazon links on all of our videos. If you click our link before you buy something on Amazon, it doesn't have to be this exact product, but if you buy anything on Amazon, if you click our link before you go buy it, you don't have to sign up or anything, but it puts our name up in the URL. And so if you buy anything on Amazon like a car or triple thick, it gives us a royalty for it. So tons of people have been doing that, and we appreciate it. But I'm going to spray the hell out of this thing with this triple thick. Now, they call it triple thick because it's a potter's glaze. right? So we don't care about the glossiness or anything. What we're trying to do is just get something really thick on there. We're putting thick paint on the back glass that's clear. You can still see through. And the reason that we want to do that is because in places like this, if you get enough of that crap on there and thick enough, you can lay that paint right back. You can lay the peeled up paint right back down in it. It's like you're gluing everything on the back glass back together with wet paint. You could probably do it with regular paint, but it's not quite as thick. This stuff is crazy thick. It's triple thick, right? And people have used it for years and years and years. I didn't come up with this, of course. People have been doing this for years, and it's proven pretty effective over the years. So you just have to be careful since it's aerosol. You don't want to get too close when you spray it because it'll spray it'll make the chips blow off, right? So I try to mist it a little bit until it starts sticking down and then spray it a little heavier. So we're going to spray it on, and then everywhere that there's a spot that's peeling up, we're going to take saran wrap and put over the spot and then put a weight on it. Now what I always use as a weight, I have a video game store, so it's real easy for me to stack a Nintendo game or something on it. Right? So just something flat. And you're just trying to hold the saran wrap down on it to push those paint chips back down in the freaking triple thick while it dries. And then whenever it's done, you take all of that off and you can just peel the saran wrap off and everything's flat or pretty close to it, and it will no longer be flaking off, and it'll protect the whole back glass. Some people say, oh, tape off your windows. I'm not going to tape off the windows because then it leaves you a screwed up edge, or if you get the tape on the edge, or when you peel the tape, it peels off some of the triple thick. Spray paint the whole damn thing. That big window, I'm going to spray right over it. It's clear, right? You'll end up with a little bit of like a refraction going on. But who cares, you know? It'll look a lot better than it does now. So we're just going to clear the entire thing over the windows and everything. We're not going to screw around with any painter's tape, trying to tape off all these little score windows and all that. We're just going to try to turn this whole thing into one big sheet of triple thick. And I'll show you what we end up with, and I'll show you the saran wrap idea here in a minute. I can't spend a ton of time showing you how to spray paint it because we have to repaint this thing in this same video. So that's going to take quite a while, right? So I'm going to go get going on this, and I'll show you what it looks like as it's drying. So Nintendo is helping us flatten it out. I sprayed everything, and then I went back to the spots where it was peeling up, sprayed it some more, because by the time I got done with the whole back glass, some of the spots were dry. So I went back to the spots that were puffing up, hit them a little harder so it was nice and wet, put some saran wrap on it, and then stacked some Nintendo games on it for weight. And we're just trying to flatten down all of the places where it was popping up. So hopefully whenever we get done, we will have a completely flat back glass. Oh, and I didn't mention, I didn't clean the front yet, so there's some dirt and stuff you can see, but that's on the front of the glass because I didn't have a way to turn it over without breaking off a lot of our loose paint. So we'll see what all survived. Oh, I got another little spot I got to get. We'll see what all survived after it all dries. So I'm just going to leave it overnight. So maybe 12, 14 hours from now, I'll come back and start taking the saran wrap off. Okay, folks, so it's dried. I'm taking the saran wrap off, show you how it goes. Simple as that. So we're getting there. Okay, it's a couple days later because I did it a couple times. So what I did was, and you can do yours this way, when I took the saran wrap off, there were a few places where it was still raised up. Mainly this area right underneath the window. So I just did it again. I just sprayed that part again, did the same thing, and let it dry again, so it took a little bit longer. So if you get areas that are giving you problems where it keeps popping up, you can do that. Now you'll notice that you get like a kind of pattern whenever you put it on that thick and you have saran wrap on it. If the saran wrap is not perfectly flat, which it probably won't be, you get little ripples. You know, it's not perfect whenever you see it from the front, but in my opinion, it's a small price to pay for saving the back glass. So this thing's completely cleared. It's not going to get any worse. We have stopped the damage. Now we have to try to repair the damage, right? So I'll show you the front, what we're kind of starting with. I'm going to turn the camera sideways just so you can see it as it would be in the machine. So you can see all the areas where paint is missing. All right. So when we touch this up, it's going to look pretty good when the lights are off. Right? The hard part is making it look good when the lights come on too. But we will do the best we can. You can see why I was trying to save the area underneath the windows, because there's this little design. Right. So thankfully, most of the paint is here. Now it has its areas that are bad, obviously. But that's where we're at. Okay. So now that it's sealed, we can use acrylic paint to paint the paint that's missing back on the back of it to make it look better. And the reason we use acrylic is because it's easy to mix, it's water-based, and if you screw it up, you can just wipe it right off. It's also cheap, so you can go buy it at Hobby Lobby, go buy it at Michael's, you can buy it online, you can buy it from Amazon down below, like we were talking about, if you want. You can buy it anywhere, have it shipped to you, or go pick it up in the store. And then if you get enough different colors, you can kind of mix it together and make anything. So that's what we're going to do. These things look very complex, but if you really look at it, there's not that many different colors. So we're going to count them and just see how complex this thing is. Check out this chick's dress. She's a little underdressed for the masquerade, isn't she? So there's a white and a black. So there's black lines, and then there's white. The dress, the mask, the windows, the balcony, all of that. So there's black and white. That's two. There's kind of like a burgundy and then a red that's different. So there's two of those. That's four. There is a orange, which is different than the red. That's five. There is a dark blue and a light blue. That's seven. There's a brown. That's eight. Well, there's a lot in this, actually. There's a yellow. That's nine. There is a green. That's 10. And then there is a light green. That's 11. So I believe there's 11 colors. I don't really see any other ones. So everything is 11 colors. That's actually pretty complex. Usually they're more like 6. 11 colors, counting black, counting white. Some of this stuff where like it says last ball in play, that is actually the same color. It's just on the back, an area is silk screened with the gray, and then an area doesn't have it. So it makes the light pass through it easier. So we have 11 colors, people, and pretty much all of them need touch-up. So this one's going to be a little bit complex. The light green may not. I think I'm going to get away with no light green. So we have 10 that we actually need to replace, but maybe we'll find a place where the light green's needed too. So the way you do these things is you just get at it, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the lines that are missing, because they're on the outside of they're the first thing you see on the glass. So the first thing you see is like all of the black lines, actually, if you look. Like it's the topmost thing. So if we're going to put any of those back in, we have to put them back in before we put the paint on behind it. But that actually really helps you too, because it defines all of the areas that are certain colors. So once you make that part that was missing on the green there, for instance, let's lift it back up. By the way, you're going to get frightened in this video as I keep moving the glass back up and putting it down. It's going to look like I'm about to break it every time. Just know that I'm scared too, right? So that, like that black line there on the green. Once I put that back in, it's permanently there, and then you can see where the green goes and where the brown goes. So you kind of have to go back in and ink in the places that were black first. There's not a ton, but I'll do that. So I've got to redraw the 4 back in, for instance. So I've got some stuff like that. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use acrylic paint pens. So you can get these in a bunch of different colors. We actually had one of our commenters on one of the other videos. I was talking about how when I was doing the circles on a game, The Lost World, whenever I was doing the circles around the insert, that I had the wrong size pen. So the guy commented, "Hey, I saw some extra fine ones on Amazon. I bought them for you and sent them to you." So somebody actually sent us these for free. Well, that's nice of you, buddy. We're going to actually use them. These are it's just acrylic paint in a little marker. And I use these on videos all the time. I usually have bigger ones, though. I don't know if these will be perfect for those circles, but they might be. We'll try it. We're probably not going to use it on this playfield, on this machine, but on a later one we'll need it. We use these all the time. But this will probably be perfect for the lines of the black on this Backglass. We're going to try it out. But you want water-based acrylic. That way, if you screw up, you can just take it right back off. Another reason you want to use water-based if you use it on the playfield is whenever we use a clear coat that's just in a spray can. And we've found that if you spray over stuff that's not water-based, now it's like if you use a Sharpie or something like that. If you spray over something that's not a water-based acrylic pen, it'll run whenever the spray paint hits it. Makes a huge mess. One time Joe was doing a Kiss pinball, which we have a video of some Kiss work coming up pretty soon, but he was doing a Kiss pinball and he touched up the sides, all of the artwork and everything he did, and then he cleared it. And whenever he cleared it, it reacted with the whatever's in the a Sharpie or whatever he was using. It reacted with the pen, and all of the black paint just smeared all the way down the cabinet. Look at this, complete waste. But acrylic won't do that. So I'll draw in those lines, and we'll see where we're at and decide which color we're going to paint first. Okay, folks, so I did just that. I inked in the black lines. And one way you can do it is you can look at the front and draw the black line on the front of the glass, and then you can see it from the back and draw it in again on the back. But it's just little tiny spots, kind of all over the place, like around the white areas. There were places missing, stuff like right there between those two balls or balloons. Some of the lines on his hat. Some of the letters on the Chicago part I had to re-ink. But yeah, just get as much of that back in as you can. The guy's shoulder. So now we're going to do the color. I think what I'll do is, I think these two balls here are probably the same color. That's red and that's red, I believe. I'm going to look at a picture just to make sure. And if they are, we'll do both of them. Since they're so big, oh hell, there might be a third one. So if you do so let's say that those are red. See how this is on the camera right now, that looks kind of red, but that's orange here in person. So those are orange, but these are more of like a red. So that red, if you decide to do that, go around and hit all of them. Do all of the ones at the same time that are the same color. We may end up with this down here may be intended to be red, but we'll see. But I'm gonna look at a picture and we'll see what color that is. I think all those are the same. So those are going to be red, and we want to mix a color that matches kind of what's on it, not what it's supposed to be. So you don't want it to be the exact color that like the flyer is. You want to match whatever's on the back glass, which is probably really faded. So yeah, let me look that up on see, some of his hat there should have red too, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get that right. So I'll probably just paint that in white. The background's white and the little scribbles are supposed to be red. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll get creative. What do you think? Yeah, let's do red first, just because it's the one that most is missing. And we'll feel better about it once we get some of it back in. Let's work on that. Okay, folks, so I took some red and some orange. I mixed it together. I got something that was similar. Red's really hard to mix when you're using these acrylic paints, because whenever you mix them together, you kind of lose the brightness of it. It just starts looking a little more dull. But using primary red, this stuff's like 80 cents at the store. It's just craft paint and bright orange. So why are we using that? Because since we've cleared the whole thing, whatever I put on there, if it's acrylic, you can just wipe it off. So we're going to do our little kindergarten project here and do a paint by numbers. And then whenever it's done, if somebody doesn't like the way I did it, they can wipe it off and do it again if they think they can do a better job, you know. So we're just trying to get it presentable. Another thing is you have to look at which areas are translucent and which areas are opaque. So the parts that are white, like around the score windows, light is supposed to shine through that. The part that you can read on the back, basically light is supposed to shine through it. Okay, now notice you don't see like the girl that's standing over here wearing the cool dress with the white and the red lines all over it, and the guy over here with the big hat with the headband on it that has the same pattern. See how you can't see that from the back? That's because it doesn't light up. It's not meant to. It's just part of the artwork on the front. Everything you can see on the back is what is supposed to light up. Some of it's always lit up, like the name, Masquerade, and the guy down there with the rose, the bachelor guy. And some of it only lights up whenever they want it to, so that'll be like some of the numbers. So whenever it says like 3, 4, and then we've got a 1 here and a 2 here, those have a specific bulb behind them that lights them up. But like that one big balloon, so I'm repainting the red part, okay? See how it says tilt in the middle? That part you don't really want to paint over if you can help it, because it's translucent. It's supposed to light up whenever the light comes on. So from the front you can't see it, but then whenever the light comes on you can see it. Well, the only way you'll be able to see it is if all the other parts don't light up and just those letters light up, T-I-L-T. So if you paint this red like I did, if I put a light behind that, I'm going to see all of that, because the red paint won't be thick enough to hide the light completely. It'll shine through there. So the way to stop that is you can put black paint over it, or you could even use like a silver like they used. I think they used the silver because it reflects the light better. You can actually see the lights from up above reflecting on it right now. It reflects the lights better, so it makes the backglass area more bright and shine a little bit better. But this actual part, like right here, never lights up. That will be completely dark. But this area will look like crap unless I paint all of that had flaked away. If I put black over it where it's so dark that light can't shine through it, it'll light up good, because the only thing that'll light are the tilt letters. And the same thing here. That shouldn't light up. There's no artwork on there. That's another one of the balloons. So I'll paint black all the way over that whenever we're done, and it will never light up. Same thing up here, except there is one little number in it. There's a number 5 in it. So this is where the match lights are. So that the 5 was in there. There's the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9. And then over here is the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down there at the bottom is the lady's dress. That doesn't match at all, but we'll look at it. So I'll show you what we're done. We're just trying to get it where your eye doesn't immediately notice all of the flaked parts. So the balloon is now no longer clear. You can kind of see the 5, but you'll see it better whenever it lights up. The balloon over here is now no longer clear. You can kind of see where it says tilt. But, you know, these just do that. See how you can kind of see the 2 and the 3 on the green balloon? I haven't put anything, I haven't touched that yet. That's just how they are. If I put like my hand behind it, see how you can no longer see it? Same over here with the tilt. If I put my hand behind it, you can no longer see it. So, we did the woman's dress down here. It looks like crap. But it was faded 5 different ways. I mean, I couldn't match all that fading. But at least light doesn't shine through it anymore. We did the ball there, the balloon there. We did the balloon there. And we did the balloon there. It's not a perfect color match. Like I said, I'm not great with red. Here's the girl I was talking about. Oh, so yeah, so see her dress, the little things on it? It's the same thing on this guy's headband. So I did try to paint a little bit of that crap back in, and then we'll paint white behind it, and hopefully it'll look all right. Okay, so but I did everything that's red. I can't find anything else red There's orange, there's skin tone, there's green, there's brown, there's blue, there's white, a little bit of yellow, burgundy. There's a bunch of stuff left, but there's no red. I don't see any anywhere. So I'm done with the red. We can put it up. Next one I want to do is I want to do the blue. So that's that balloon. It's this guy's hat. It's this guy's helmet a little bit. So that's it. But the guy's hat is pretty major, so I want to get it done. I'm just doing the biggest ones first this time around. Okay, so we'll try to mix some blue. Maybe I'll have something out of the bottle that'll be pretty close, but we'll do it next and see what we come up with. So the blue, I've got Calypso Blue, which was a little dark. And I put a little bit of baby blue in it, which was a little light. Got the middle. And put it on a balloon, the guy's hat, the guy's ropes on his uniform, and the guy's helmet. So there's the balloon. It's a little spotty. All of those places are where it's like flaking away a little bit. You know, it's the guy's helmet. We still have to put the black behind it, which will darken some of this up too. And the guy's hat. Little spotty, but parts of that are just... so it's his hat is 3 colors. 2 of those colors... The third color is mine. The other 2 were how it had faded and lifted. So. Oh, and his little... The crease in his jacket. Or the highlight on his jacket. I know you can't tell much yet because it all still looks pretty. So it's like, see how much I messed up around that woman's neck down there? Except I didn't. That's how the art is. None of that has flaked off or anything. That's just how it is. So I'm lucky that it's like a messy glass. Anyways, see how screwed up the guy's handkerchief is on his head? Except it's not. That's the art. That's how it was done. So since it's got so much going on, yeah, that's all messy. But it's going to hide a little bit. I think we're going to be all right. Everybody's going to be looking at the girl with the fan and the back glass, the score reels, and the bigger figures. You know, so I think we're going to get away with it, people. All right. So next up, let's do this burgundy that the curtain is made out of. What do you think about that? Let me see what I can find that's somewhat near that. Okay, folks, it is the next day, and I'm working on it a little bit more. We got the burgundy in. We got a little bit of green in. Did a couple spots that were green. There was just a couple spots missing that. And then the white. So I've got a bunch of different whites. I was able to use cool white. By the way, I was working on my truck earlier. I've got grease all over me. But it's not, it's clean. It's just I'm not all the way clean. You'll have to deal with it, people. So we used the cool white. It was about the closest match that we had to what was going on. So I've got the nameplate back, but you can see how some of the lettering is not perfect. That's because the stuff moved as I was gluing it down, or whenever I drew it back in, I didn't do a perfect job. It is what it is. And then the 4 number 1s I painted back in. So I need to talk to you about that. That's a pretty good match. Like, I completely repainted that. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. And then there were a couple other little white spots that I've touched up. So we got to talk about the translucent versus the I'm seeing another spot I should have done white. The translucent versus the opaque. So the way that they made the one trick work. Okay, so this will be a good example. Okay, see all this? I can't repaint that, because if I paint that where it gets rid of the clear area and now it's white, that's lit up the entire time that the game is on. You will see every little brush stroke, and it won't look any better than the cracked chipped paint that's on there. So it's better to just leave it with the line in it. It's cleared, so it's not going to get any worse. Just leave it like that. Okay, so what about the one? It was completely missing. So what I did was, the way they designed this was the one is white, but they had silver over the back of it. So when a bulb goes off behind that, the square around it lights up, but the one itself stays dark. So it's kind of like backlit to make it look kind of similar to the score reels, which have black letters on them. So, yeah. So I've got to repaint all of those ones black from the back, so that whenever a light is behind them, they won't light up. The space around it will light up, and you'll see the one. So that should be cool. Stuff like this, I'm leaving. When it's like this, where it's pretty bad, I'm probably just going to repaint all of that with brush strokes all the way across it, and you will see the brush strokes, but it'll, you know, it'll have a decent little effect on it, I guess. And then on things like that, if you're doing one, you got to do all four of them. First player, second player, third player, fourth player. So you just got to kind of pick your battles and do the best you can. Again, this is the glass was in really rough shape. You saw it. We're trying to do the best that we can with it. And it's all acrylic paint, so if it's not up to somebody's liking down the road, they can clean the acrylic paint off and redo it. Okay, so on to the next color. Okay, so I have painted very little of the translucent parts. So the parts that would light up, I've touched up very little of that. I did the guy's chin because it was completely clear, and it might look like a shadow when it lights up. So the parts that I painted, most of them are parts that are not supposed to light up. So you can actually just take black paint and paint over the paint that you want to show through on the front, so that the thinness of the acrylic paint doesn't allow any light to shine through it. And if you have areas that are kind of crinkled like these, some of these are cracks where light will probably show through. You can touch it up. Let's get rid of those. Now a lot of that's the clear coat that we put on it, the triple thick. So I painted all over all of that. Now that part was white. You saw that, right? I painted over white paint with black paint. So let's see how it looks. Ta-da! So it will actually look pretty good in the machine because that never lights up. Now let's look at our ones. Right? I wish I could get a light behind it, but you can see. Okay, that's how it's going to look. So that's how it will look when lit, or it'll be a little brighter than that actually. And then if I start moving my hand behind it, so that there's no light behind it, you can see that it hides the one. So anyway, we're about done, and we're about ready to pop it in the machine and see how it looks. Alright folks, so this is what we have ended up with. I like it. I've got a few light bulb issues that I still have a few bulbs that don't light up, so it should actually look a little better after this, and I don't have the back door on it too. There's a little bit of light coming in from the back because the door's not on it. But I've got a new technique I'm trying. Basically, I'm trying, if I can resist it, to not paint any of the translucent parts like I was talking about. So if you look close, these are crazed and cracked. But since they light up, I didn't paint them. I just left them like that. But I was able to, all of the parts that were dark, I was able to paint. Like, so for instance, his chin was missing. I was able to paint it back in. Around the 1, 2, 3, and 4 that was all faded away and completely missing, I was able to paint it back in. Now it looks faded and everything, so it's not perfect. This is the worst part here. I didn't get a very good color match on her shoulder there. But remember the girl's dress, a little bit of it was missing, painted it back in. Her foot, part of her foot was missing, painted it back in. You can see where I screwed up The flesh tone was really good, but I painted it where there should have been a shadow. Little things like that, though. Nobody can even tell by looking at it. This brown I painted in. You can see where I painted in the green. It's not a perfect match. But personally, I think it worked out pretty good. Now I wonder what the Masked Beauty thinks. Okay, so give us a a wave if you like it. All right, she likes it. So yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so let me show you something else that we've been doing while we've been working on this, because we've been messing with the playfield a little bit too, but I don't know what order we're going to upload all these in. We're trying to do it where one's you know, we do one on just the Backglass, one on just the playfield. We're trying to separate them all out, but we also worked on the cabinet a little bit, so this whole area was screwed up. We bondoed it in, repainted it. I didn't get the color of the paint quite right, but they did this thing that's called webbing. It's the way they do their paint. So they would paint the machine one color, and then they would put all that splatter on it there. The Gottlieb stuff was called webbing. The other machines, they called their splatter paint. So basically, whenever it got to the end of the line, after they did the stencil work, I had somebody the other day saying that they were silkscreen. These are not silkscreen, they're stenciled. You can get a good look here. See the originally it would have been white, the background paint, and then see the webbing, how it goes under the orange. You see it? The paint is thin enough that you can see the webbing through it. So they painted the whole thing white first with spray paint, with a spray gun. And then after they did, there was a guy at the end of the line, or a woman at the end of the line, with a gun that had a messed up nozzle on it that just sprayed crap all over the place. And they went and just sprayed this splatter paint all over the white part because it hides all the imperfections. Now this thing's old now, so it's got a lot more imperfections, so it don't hide all of them anymore. But it made the cheap plywood that they used that wasn't cabinet grade look a little better. So whenever you touch these up, you have to put the splatter paint back on or the webbing back on. So it looks pretty similar. The color's off a little bit. If I didn't tell you though that had been rebondoed, you'd probably go, something weird going on there, but I don't know what happened. So I just took a black paint marker and scribbled all over it. There it is, you tell me. Or you tell me about where the light box was on the side, right? It's not completely gone, but if you didn't know what was there, right? Or how about the whole front? The whole front was all screwed up, so we did the same thing. I painted it in by hand. I just matched the faded paint the best I could. And then I took a black marker, a paint pen, and just made little approximations of the webbing. Now, if you look close at it, you can see it's not right. Now that I mentioned it, you can obviously tell that it's been redone. So what about this part? Can you see where I did it? I didn't do it. I didn't do anything there. That's original. That's fun. So yeah, we're getting there. I'll show you on some of these other ones. I've got I'll make a point for you here. This is a good example. So this is a Williams Jubilee. Williams did splatter paint, and look how they did theirs. Theirs was a silver paint. So there's little silver dots all over everything. And it was just a different kind of process. It's not a webbing, it's like a silver dots. I think whenever we did the Spider-Man, we already showed this. Here's a Williams pat hand. This one has little blue dots everywhere. And it kind of plays a trick with your eyes where you don't notice the imperfections because there's little imperfections everywhere because they spray painted little stuff all over it. So here's a little later, a Bally Night Rider, and by this point they were not doing it. So there's nothing on it. But maybe there were some machines that were silkscreen, but all the ones that I mess with, none of them were silkscreen. See the overspray? They were definitely stenciled. That line is because whoever was holding the stencil on the cabinet moved it a little bit, and a little bit more air got under it, and you get overspray. So because of that, that looks right. Like that looks correct, right? And because the webbing was on these, I mean, that kind of looks correct. It has to have little scribble marks all over it. So we have this cool machine here that we're going to be working on. This is a Gottlieb swing along. It's got the wrong legs on it and everything else. That's why it's sitting so low. We're going to fix all that. But somebody has repainted it. And if you look, they kind of did a rough job on it. But the main thing is there's no splatter paint. There's no webbing. So it doesn't really, it looks too, it's too bright, it's too clean. They never looked like that. So, in my opinion, that looks all right, but an older, worn one like this, you know, I just think it looks better. I like it better. All right, so there we go. So we got our back glass. I think, man, we saved that, didn't we? Didn't we save it? I mean, I think this is completely usable. Let me turn off the lights and let's see what it looks like with the lights off. Looks great. To be honest, I didn't know how well it was going to come out, but it came out decent. It has its flaws. There's wear everywhere, but looks great. Again, I got some light bulbs out that I have to mess with sockets, but yeah, I'm real happy with it. I think it came out very nice, considering what we started with. She agrees. Uh-oh, did she get stuck? She must know George. Anyway, yeah, that's that. By the way, people, it's more fun to compete. Choose partners for team play. Game over. Yeah, I think it came out great. All right, leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Think it was worth the effort, people? Can you see a definite improvement from before? The light bulbs here are out too. Can you see an improvement? You think it was worth the effort? Let us know what you think. Now down below, you will find a whole bunch of links. All of our links are down below. We get our music from bensound.com. I don't know if we put any of our music in this video, but go check that out. You can download free music. That's where a lot of our, or most of our songs come from. If you've heard any of them on our videos that you like, our elevator lounge music. That's what I'm going to call it. Other people have called it different things, but I'm trying to keep this family friendly, people. And also, there is a link down below to my brother's channel, my brother Donnie. If you haven't been over there, boy, we've been having a lot of fun. We've been working on a lot of our old pickup trucks and stuff like that. Having the good times. We've been filming a big, long series of videos on working on the jailhouse, too. We own an old jailhouse that we are working on. Yep, it's just what I just said. But we have been sitting on the videos a little bit, so I don't know if those have been uploaded yet, but they're coming, so you might see that eventually. So go check out the channel, My Brother Donnie. We do a bunch of crazy stuff on there. It's mainly about my brother Donnie. He films most of the videos. But it has nothing to do with arcade games or pinball machines. Oh, you know what? We need to see what the ones look like. You're all dying to see the ones, aren't you? How do we get the one to light up? I've been doing all that talking about the ones. Reset, relay, those are the numbers. I got to light up at least one of the ones. So I'll do that. stay tuned here in a second. Now, there's also links to all of our Amazon links down below. If you are going to buy anything on Amazon, click our link right before you do it, and it puts our name in your URL, and it gives us a little royalty for everything you buy on Amazon. So we appreciate all the people that have been doing that. Thank you very much. You don't have to go buy anything, though, that you're not going to buy already. We just appreciate people using our link to go to Amazon to get it, because it literally sends us some of Jeff Bezos' money. We've signed up for tons of the international ones. So right now we have the Canadian one, United States one, the United Kingdom one. We have an Italian one, a French one, a Spanish one, a German one. So there's a whole bunch of links down below. We appreciate everybody that's been doing that. Very, very cool. So give us a thumbs up, and let me turn on a 1 for you. Ta-da! All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video.